to go live. There we
Yep.
are. All
Yep.
right. We are live. I've got a voice in my head, and we'll see how it goes. Um, just to explain what that comment's about, I've got two different Google sessions, and one has the pretty pictures, one has me. And right now I'm hearing myself in the voice under a slight delay, and I haven't figured out how to turn it off. So we'll kind of go with it and see what happens. Welcome to number 4 of the Smartphone Photographers Revisit. I've got Michael King with me, and we are going to talk about the new small news from today, yesterday, and for the next 6 months called the iPhone 7. And there it is in all its glory. So we've got colors, we've got a new camera with 2 lenses. We have no microphone jack. What are some of the other features, Mike?
Well, okay. The 7 now has the optical stabilization, like the
That's right.
6S Plus has. The all right, now the two on the 7 Plus, the two cameras, they're two separate different lenses. One is the normal wide angle lens that you get on all smartphones. Then there's another one they call a telephoto, which it's only a 50 something millimeter lens or something like that. I can't remember, but it's supposed to be what it does. It's supposed to give you a better depth of field, everything, and that's where that bokeh comes in. That will uh, be. They said it's probably not going to be anytime soon, but it will be there in just a little. One of the updates, if not iOS 11. But it's let's see. Oh, and then of course they have a fancy. It has a super fast processor.
Now, have you heard any specs as far as how fast?
Okay, they say, all right, it's a quad. The first Apple's first quad core CPU. They got one that does the heavy processing. Then you have another one that will be for like lightweight stuff. Low energy. But I haven't read all the. No, I think they got the specs on the Apple site of all of their equipment.
Okay. So what I just put up right now is something near and dear to our hearts, and that is how the new lenses are put together.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it's gotten fairly complicated.
Yeah,
Now, go ahead.
yeah. I'm saying they're touting this to be not DSLR, but getting close to it, which I have to see it to believe. I'm always skeptical until I see something.
Yeah, you and me
But
both.
oh, and the other thing that they say this will do, you'll be able to handle raw files or the DNG files.
Now, I've not heard of what the spec is. So is it raw TIFF? Is it raw DNG? Is it?
DNGs.
It is a DNG. So they're
Yes.
borrowing Adobe standard.
Yes, it's the Adobe.
Huh. Now on the stable is on the. You have to forgive me, folks. This is really weird hearing myself echo. Um, on the stabilization, what I've heard is it's an actual optical stabilization.
Right. It works just the same as it did on the 6 Plus and the 6S Plus. It acts. That's why there is more of a on it. There's a little bit bigger bump on it to allow the lens to move up and down and everything, kind of go around with it, whatever it is, and it does work. I'm very impressed with the optical
Yeah, I haven't
optical.
seen any details to it yet of what it might look like or how it's going to work.
They say it works just like it did on there, as it did on does on the uh
If you're trying to find a picture or something that details it.
yeah. I'm going. What I'm doing is going to the website, and I can get all the specs if you need to
Yeah,
know.
if you can pull it up, that'd be great. Now, I have to
Uh,
admit,
some
you
things.
know, going
Uh,
back to the whole DNG raw file thing,
huh.
um, my biggest fear on that is on the JPEGs that we have today, the phone produces an average of a 1.5 to 2 megabyte file per image. A raw TIFF, for example, was running about 11 meg. I'm going to be very curious to see how big these files are going to be because it's a higher resolution camera now, and they're giving us RAW. So even though the minimum size is 32 gig on the phone, I'm not sure that's going to be even enough for anybody who considers himself a somewhat serious photographer.
Right. Uh,
Any luck so far?
okay. The it's a all right. The camera is a 12 megapixel camera. The
That's four more than we got today.
right. It's a 12 megapixel wide angle. This all right. This is the for the 7 plus. It's the wide angle, which is camera one, is an f 1.8 aperture. The telephoto is f 2.8 aperture. Optical zoom is at times two, and digital zooms up to 10 times. So that's okay. Trying to think. See, yeah, front facing is a 7 megapixel camera.
Yeah. I'm also looking, they're giving us a really big display too. The biggest one, the Plus, is a 5.5 inch Retina.
Yes, it's a 5.5, which is the same as the one I have. It's they are still the
Let's show
same.
that.
Uh,
Let's see here.
it's a little lighter than last year's because there's no stinking headphone jack. As you can tell, I'm not too happy with that either.
Huh. I was going to show that picture and I can't seem to find it. Oh well. Oh, I
But
know why.
I like the fact that 32 is now the norm, and then they got 32, 128, and 256 gigabytes. There you go.
Yep. Let's bring it up so everybody can see it. So this is the display specs, and let's see here. There we
They're,
go.
they're the
And
they're the camera specs.
so we're talking a 12 megapixels. So that's four more than what we got today.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know they changed the aperture. So this is more this is a bigger aperture or a bigger opening than what we have today on the iPhone, any of the
Right.
iPhones. Now, what's interesting is we gave up a little bit on the telephoto side,
Yeah, they say it's the way it's supposed to do is just to help enhance the picture.
right? And did you notice this? We're getting a real optical zoom. Now it's only a
Yes.
2x.
Yes, 2x.
So what?
Yeah,
Optical's optical.
right. Right. And then a 10x for digital zoom. Yeah, digital.
Let's see here.
Six lens element. So that's
Now this I'm still not real keen on. The quad true tone flash. I
mhm,
really wish they'd stop calling this a flash because it isn't. It's a bunch of LEDs. They turn on and off. It's too long of a duration to be a flash.
mhm.
It's like turning on the video light and then turning it off. And you can tell because when you take a flash picture, a quote flash picture with your iPhone, it doesn't stop the action. It's such a long duration, you still get the blur. It's just a well lit blur now, if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's always been the big problem. Well, I guess that's really the same goes for any of the smartphones.
So far as I know, I don't know of any smartphone that uses a real flash. Um, I'm wondering if the auto HDR is going to be any better than what we've had for the last couple of years. Because the HDR that we currently have on our iPhones is really kind of sucky.
Well, they're showing on their site. They've been showing some pictures from it. It does look better than some of the other ones that they've had before.
Now I know a lot of my friends are getting real excited about this 4K video.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about blowing through and burning up space on your phone?
Yeah, that's where I think Apple, again, they don't show some of their wisdom. Uh, should have put a SD card in there for doing 4K.
That's such an anti-Jobs thing,
Yes.
But honestly, I'd much, if Apple were to come up and said, we're going to take away your analog port and we're going to give you an SD expansion port in its place, I probably wouldn't be quite as bitchy about losing the analog port
Mm-hmm.
because we would have gotten something of great value in return. As it stands, we've given up something of value and gotten very little back, if anything, or at least in my opinion, for whatever it's worth.
And those ear pods, that is
Oh,
the
those are
jury's.
ridiculous.
Yeah, the jury's out on that.
Well, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to have hanging in my ear, and I'm going to lose one of the damn things and won't realize it until it's too late.
Yes, and the bad thing is they're hundreds of odd dollars.
Yeah, well, now this is, I just realized this right here. You'll be able to take an 8 megapixel still photo while recording 4K video.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking a page out of the, what's the little square camera? I can't, I just blanked.
Oh, the GoPro?
The GoPro, thank you. Because that's one of the GoPro's claim to fame is they shoot at such a high res, you can pull a still that's actually usable.
Yes.
Uh, of
That
course,
is,
of course, looking at all this film and trying to find the one to pull the still from is kind of interesting.
yes. You're gonna have to really kind of go through it frame by frame, practically.
Well, that kind of defeats the whole purpose.
Yeah, but it's
Now, this is good news. So the front FaceTime camera, 7 megapixel.
yes,
That's
and a
awesome.
1080p videos as well.
I don't know about the body and face detection.
Again, that's some of the gimmicks of who.
We got the standard carriers, all the cellular details.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when did they pull out AC? Do you know?
Starting with the iPhone
Was it? It wasn't
6,
the 6.
the 6. No, I think that maybe the 5S started it. Um, but yeah, I've got an AC router, and yeah, my iPhone works beautifully on AC.
Interesting.
And of course, my computers are all AC now, except for this one that's still in the process of rebooting. And so I think got something screwed up on the Go Master. I'm waiting to see if it clears itself up, or am I going to have to re-download it? But uh, the AC is not bad.
Yeah. I wonder how well this is going to work. Video formats supported up to 4K. I wonder if that 4K is going to hold up underneath mirroring. It doesn't look like it. Says up to 1080p through Lightning, blah blah blah.
Right. I don't think that Lightning is capable of doing 4K yet.
Yeah.
And they figure, well, not everybody has a 4K television, and if you're going to mirror that, see the Apple TV, the generation 4, It's only 1080p.
Right. Now,
So,
this is something that's got everybody yakking, the 2 hour longer battery life.
mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's going to hold true. Because I
Apple's
know
been,
on mine, I can kill a battery in about 4 hours.
yeah, Apple's been pretty accurate on their general for normal use battery. Now, if you're a heavy use, yeah, your mileage varies. But
Well,
when
when
it
I'm
comes,
taking pictures a lot, I can rip through a battery in nobody's business.
right, I think what they're talking about just normal use.
I am
Yeah.
normal.
I mean, normal like everybody else that uses it to talk and then just take a
All
they
the rest of the world.
right.
Now, this will be intriguing when it's actually released. I have a feeling that iOS 10 is going to bring some pretty interesting features to the table.
It does.
I mean, AirPlay, AirPrint, they've had that in some variations already. Um, I've been told that the iCloud's actually changed up slightly. It certainly can't be any worse than what it is.
Yep. If you can read, I don't know if it's bright, too bright.
What you
Uh,
got there? Let me bring up focus. Ah, your software is up to date.
you see what it is
So what have
though?
you noticed?
A lot of it's a huge change.
What would you say the biggest change is?
Two of them. The control center and notifications. That's huge. And you have two different ways. You got, you have like where you have your widgets,
Yeah,
and then you can press on notification. This one you just slide back and forth. As I said, it's noticeably different, especially the lock screen. When you go lock it, you know how you used to have slide to unlock.
yes.
Uh,
Let's see. Press here to unlock.
uh-huh.
So they're using biometrics?
They use yeah. Well, basically, they're what the home button is also your unlock. And if you have like I do the Touch ID,
Yeah,
you touch it and then push down, and it automatically unlocks.
handy.
There's no more slide, and because everybody complained about, okay, they had to relearn how to, because the on the iPhone 6s the Touch ID is so fast. You had to learn how to use the Touch ID. I mean, you had to use the switch on the side instead of hitting the home button. Now you can hit the home button and get your Touch ID, and then boom, so you can
Handy.
see what so you can see what your notifications were.
Handy, handy. Well,
Oh, and
what's that?
that's the other big change. The home button's no longer a button.
We mean, I heard a
It's
rumor it's programmable.
and it's not programmable yet.
Not
But
yet.
what it is, it's just like on the Apple Watch, on the new MacBook, and the new trackpads that force touch. It does
Interesting.
not. It uses that taptic engine to let you know that you've clicked it. Otherwise, uh, that's what it doesn't. It's not a physical button anymore. That's the big thing on it. And they say on the iPhones, I guess they're going to call it 8, whatever the 10-year anniversary. That button won't even exist. To be just they're going to take a page out of Android.
I've heard it. Yeah, I've heard a rumor about that. I've got mixed feelings on that. I kind of like the idea of a positive click in a button.
But yeah, no, I know how it feels because I mean, all right, I'm using that Magic Trackpad too,
Right.
which is
Right.
just a solid piece of glass, no movement. When I click on it, it feels like I'm clicking. It actually feels like it tricks your mind. It actually feels like it's moving when it's not, which is a unique thing. Just
I
like on
imagine. I imagine so.
just like on the Force Touch on here, the 3D Touch that they use on the phone.
Right.
Uh, you do feel stuff because of the Taptic engine. It feels like something's moving when it doesn't, even on the main screen.
Little biofeedback there. Handy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what they say. The home button is. It's just a solid piece of glass, or that the sapphire
Sapphire. Yeah.
glass, and the harder you press on it, the everything it does. And yeah, you can program it just like you can on the home button you have now to do certain things. A long, the no, the long, the real light press does one thing, a medium press something else, and the long press does something else.
Right. Just make sure you don't really wang it hard. Yeah.
Right.
Well, now let's move into something else that's near and dear that we were starting to talk about just before we kicked this off live. And as you know, I'm a runner, so I've got my Garmin. Um, I complain about the Garmin. So the Garmin to me as a runner is invaluable. It's a training aid. It keeps track of
Mm-hmm.
where I am, where I'm going, how fast I'm going, how many steps, all that useless information. It does it pretty well. It should. That's what it does. It's a tracker. Uh, it's got some issues. One is the band is proprietary to the watch, so and the band's junk. So it's a $30 band when you have to replace it. Um, on the plus side, it'll run for about a week and a half before I have to charge it. On the con side, it only does a watch. It has very little else it can do. And the Apple Watch up to now has been somewhat useless in my world because it didn't support GPS. If you wanted to go run, yeah, you could take your watch, but you had to bring your iPhone along for the GPS coordinates. So the very newest generation, version 2, I believe is what they're calling it, is GPS capable, and it's being targeted towards sports enthusiasts, swimming, running. You know, it's waterproof now. I forget how far down it can go, but it's not sweat proof. It's waterproof, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's starting to appeal to me because in my world, this is about $250 ish, 270 for the newest one. And the new version 2 Apple Watch is pushing 350 to 400, at least what I've been told.
Yes.
So I'm looking at this going value proposition. I can spend $100 more and get something that does a whole lot more than just being a watch, or I can get a dedicated device that still is kind of in the stone ages on a few of its capabilities. Um, in this case, I think I might be very interested in getting an Apple Watch for a change.
Oh yeah. Of
Now
course, I know
you have an Apple Watch,
two of
and
them.
okay, you got two arms, right?
Well, I have my cheaper one, and I have
Okay,
my arm and a leg one.
your arm and a leg one. That's right.
uh, you know what the arm and a leg one is?
I do. I do. It's a very nice piece of equipment.
Yes, very expensive piece of equipment that I don't want to go swimming with it because it's too expensive. But
Yeah,
no,
that falling off or getting lost or broken would be a very painful experience.
yeah. But what I do like about the Apple Watches, even okay, what it is, it's the edition, and not the new edition. The ceramic. This is the gold edition. Well, mine's
Right.
rose gold. Um, even it, you can get good third party bands. It works good on it. Looks good,
Yeah.
and that's what I like about it. Now I do have it. I do have a my most expensive third party band is about a little over $110.
Okay.
But it's a link bracelet. It looks just like the Apple one. But I like the idea of this water resistant, and I'm waiting for the videos of the spit. What that refers to, to clear the water out of the speaker channel.
Right.
The speaker itself
Supposed
will
to push it out, right?
push it out, and
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the close up of it, getting it wet, making the
Watching it
making
spit.
right.
You realize there's gonna be all kinds of videos about this. You know,
Yeah.
there's gonna be a whole subculture dedicated to the Apple Watch spitting. You know? That's really sad when you think about it. We lose you?
Water
You still there?
resistant. I do shower. I can shower with it, and it won't hurt it.
So it is resistant at some level.
Right. That's how they can. That's how these companies that can gold plate it, is that it can stand 20 minutes at a certain level, which is just enough to do the plating without getting in there. It's
I wondered about that.
it you can't go swimming with it. You can go swimming to a degree, but you can't really go deep because then it will penetrate.
Right, right.
But and as I said, I know it's been wide known that Tim Cook showers with his,
I
and
wouldn't
I've
know
heard,
that.
and he said, in fact, on Twit, this Megan Maroney said she leaves it on when she showers.
Okay.
Now, if she goes in the pool or takes a bath, no, she takes it off because that's too much, just too, it's too risky. But I'm interested to see all that in the GPS. Now, I'm interested to see if the GPS can be turned on and off because it's going to do something with batteries, and saying,
Well, yeah. So a GPS is going to really kill the battery if they don't have a way to turn it off. But and again, from my point of view, they'd better make it damn easy to turn it on and off. Because if I got to dig menus to do this, it's fatal.
Basically, it'll be in these, probably be in the settings, and probably like everything you do have the Apple Watch menu, and you can do a lot of stuff real easy just on the phone, turn something on and off by like that. But
I'm not buying something to remote control my phone.
right.
So from a sports point of view, now granted that's kind of a very myopic point of view. If I've got the watch on and I want to turn the GPS on or off for some reason or pause it or whatever, I'd better be able to just do it through a tap and not have to sit there and scroll menus and figure out 3 levels down how to do this, or go find my phone,
Right.
or worse, have to carry my phone
Yeah.
with me when I go run.
Let me see if I. There's the menu. That's the settings. Let me
You
just
might
take it
actually
off.
have to take it off.
I'll take it off and I'll put my code back in because I do have Apple Pay on here, and I have to.
You might want to hide that.
Okay, and
We'll wait.
there it is. See, all right. There's
Okay.
there are your menus.
So your basic. Now, can you program those menus as far as what's actually seen first? Or is that fixed?
It's fixed.
That's a shame.
That's again, it's one of the things. Just like I can do the orientation stuff like that.
Right, right.
But and that's also when you can turn the airplane mode on.
Now you're controlling the menus from the little knob, right? You roll the knob, or is it swiping across the face of the watch?
You have to go into the settings, but also there is now. I think I have heard there is a quick. All right, there's this one that is using your glances.
Okay.
There you can turn
almost like gives you buttons.
Right, and gives you a mute and stuff like that. I think they say, I think I saw from Renee Ritchie saying that, yeah, the GPS, the turn to mute, turn it on and off, is in that same thing where
that would be smart.
That, just like you can mute everything.
I mean, you got to make it readily accessible and not bury it.
Right. So because the way they do it, it's kind of like the glances they had, but they've changed it a little bit where it's real easy just to get to.
Yeah, because I remember in the bad old days of using my Razor and some of my other cell phones, to take a picture required going down about 6 levels in menus, which I always thought was just completely stupid.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, again, no, when you, of course, to set your watch up, you have to use your phone.
I'm good with that.
And what I did, the stuff that I need to have in the glances, the stuff I needed close by, I just moved them real close where when I go straight up, it will be like the, for me, the activity, the heart rate, and then my battery. and the settings for muting stuff like that. Just with real couple of quick swipes, and whammo.
Yeah, and I noticed that they've got a Nike version that
Yes,
I keep reading about, but I really can't find a whole lot of detail about why I would want to buy the Nike, Apple Watch. I'm trying
it's
to pull up a
it.
page here. It looks like it's got a fancy band, and
Yes, Nike. Yeah, it hey, you have to view pricing. Okay.
yeah. So
Oh, okay. So
let me see
they're
here.
doing some of the stuff for. Oh, they're getting stuff ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, you won't find it on the. I got a page here. So obviously the band is different, but what I'm not sure about is what about the watch itself is going to make me want to buy that over a normal Apple Watch. Now,
It
I'll say this, if this display is any indication, if it's really this bright, that would be
it is.
awesome.
That's what I've heard. It's that bright, and basically what it is a sport watch, but with just like the Hermes, it has a Nike Pacific um, screens or faces,
Yeah. I see a
and
lot of Nike specific bands. I'm not sure about the screens.
right. Well, the screen also is on there. Let's
Oh,
see.
there's the Nike swoosh they got the little swoosh. You're paying
Right,
for that.
right, and then see you have all these different ones, and then they'll have different. See, like all right, the
So we got beats per
that
minute.
would be the modular one,
Yep.
and that will have all that your heart rate and
Yeah. So he ran a tenth of a mile. He's running 162 beats a minute
hmm
to lighten up.
right. But see they'll have on all the different watches faces. Then you of course you have your standard Apple faces, but then you'll have a set of Nike ones that would be specific to Nike.
Oh, here we go. This looks useful because I
Yes.
use this to pause and resume my runs depending if I got to wait for a light.
Mm-hmm. And it's now again, they do have the annoying stuff that can be turned off. Like the first thing I turned off was the stand every hour,
Oh, yeah, that wouldn't last with me.
especially since I can run this at, now, as I said, the stainless steel one, I use it at night, and that's my sleep tracking one. I do have all the sleep tracking stuff, and I don't want that thing to wake me up saying time to stand when I'm trying to sleep.
Come on, move your butt out of bed. Time to stand up.
Right.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Now, of course, I don't have the beta of the Watch 03. Apple Watch 3.
Right.
Oh, um, there's going to be some big changes in that too, where especially the button on you have your digital crown, you have a button below it. All it does right now is get you to your contacts and turns the machine on and off. Or if you tap it real 3 times, you get your Apple Pay.
Yeah. So here's the normal watch.
Yes.
Yeah, they've got all kinds of bands to choose from now.
Yeah. Of course, the Hermes is something. The Hermes is almost expensive as the as that ceramic one,
Yeah,
which is right there.
it's up
That's
there.
and they say it is as strong as the steel.
That's a pretty clear face.
Oh yes, they say that. As I said, they say that the
Aw.
you got both Mickey and Minnie now.
Boy, I can think of several friends that are just going to go nuts just for that watch face alone.
I've already got. I sold one of my old watches. I had another watch. and the first thing she put on it was Mickey Mouse.
Oh, there you go. Turn digital crown to unlock and eject water.
Yep.
Make it spit.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Oh man, you gonna make it there?
We've had a lot of rain and
Humidity.
humidity, but no, that button on the side, the power switch now is going to do a whole lot more than what it did do in previous model. I mean, before previous OSs, and it each one since I've had it since day one, I've watched it really progress to where it is now, and of course they're saying that the everything's now the big problem, it takes forever for an app to launch. Now
Okay.
it launches real quick.
All right.
Especially if you have it in your complications, it
Now,
always runs. It always
now tell me this as a user of said Apple Watch and a high consumer of said Apple Watch, what would you say the average battery life is?
if I'm really rushing it hard,
Yeah.
I'll get at least maybe 9 to 10 hours.
So not quite a day.
But now if I use just regular use where
Define regular use. I mean, are we talking checking your time once an hour or actually playing with a few apps?
Playing with some apps, checking my time, every now and then checking to see what my heart rate is.
Right.
I can take it off charge at 9 o'clock, and finally I have to go back on the charge about between 11:30 and 12 o'clock at night.
Okay. So a full day.
Yeah, I'll get a full day. Now, if I'm doing exercising and I'm using the exercise apps where it always is running that the sensors for the heart monitor, which is those two LEDs, then I can get about 8 or 9 hours.
Okay, so to really utilize the watch the way myself would probably want to use it, I'm looking at charging it twice a day.
And it only takes about 30 minutes to charge.
That fast?
Yes. It's a very fast charge. You know, if I've run it hard and I know I'm going to be going out late, I always keep that little not hockey puck. It looks like it looks like the stethoscope.
Right.
I always keep one in my computer bag, and I can just charge it up in 30 minutes. It's back up to full charge. And I'll let it go so I can, if I'm going to have a late day.
That's interesting. It'd be nice if they gave us wireless charging on it, where you could just lay it down, or when you're resting your hand on your desk or something.
Yeah. Well, it's about as close as they come as the actually it's like the Qi charge, or you call it like that, because it uses a magnet. And unlike it automatically just finds the polarity correctly, and it does charge fast. I'm very impressed with it. That's one of the few things on that they did right. They have some stuff that the first one from Watch 101 to where it is now, it's become much more useful, and now with the GPS is even more useful.
So you're talking about this guy. Let me pull the screen up and you can tell me if I'm on drugs here. This guy here?
Yep, that's it.
So this is a wireless charger dock for the Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this actually magnetic, or is it just you just put
magnetic.
Your watch in? Okay.
It has a magnet, and the watch has a magnet.
Okay, so they marry themselves, and you're not going to knock it off by accident.
Oh yeah, it takes quite a while to really knock it off. You can pull it off, but it takes some strength. It's a little stronger than the MagSafe on the laptops. but yet it does. You can knock it on the floor easily.
Okay, good to
Because
know.
I have knocked my watch on the floor a couple of times by kicking the thing because
Yeah, I'm sure that goes over well.
it stays connected.
All right.
Now, of course, the edition ones, they're boxes. The box, you can actually have the charger plugged in, put into it, and just put it in the box, and it charges.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm going to cut this off. It's been not quite an hour, and I got to put my kids to bed. It's a school night.
Yeah,
I'll
same
say up
thing.
front, I appreciate you dropping on, Mike, at short notice. I
Oh
know
yeah,
you're a huge Apple fan, and you had a
oh, yeah.
wealth of information.
Oh yeah. Well, I watched the keynote. Of course, I did listen to Hair Leo complain about not being there, but also listen to his pros and cons. Especially, he's not a big wearable fan, and he likes the new Apple Watch.
Well, I'm not a big wearable fan either, other than my running watch. But with the GPS, they might actually convert me on that. Um, my gripe about the whole show that they did was they used the word courage for pulling off the analog port, and I vehemently disagree with that.
Oh, so did
That's not
Andy.
courage. That's not courage.
So did
That's
Andy. So did Leo. So did half the Mac people I see that are on Twitter and do podcasts. They didn't say courage. They said uh, that didn't. They said they should have come up with a little better explanation.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, courage is running into the burning building, or something to that. Courage is not taking the consumer and taking something away. But
yes.
anyways, that's a philosophical point. And
Oh
if
yeah.
I go back on my little soapbox about that, we'll be here for another half hour. So.
Oh, I can throw. I said I can throw gasoline on the flame as well because I will
Anyways,
probably get it. I'll probably get the. I won't get it right away. So I'm not going to stay up at 3 o'clock in the morning to do the
no,
iPhone.
no.
I will get it because I do have the through Verizon, which
The
you
upgrade
have
path.
the upgrade path. And I just said, okay, when they're available, I'll just get one. I'll get the
Now, see, in
128.
my case, my phone's paid for. It's been paid for a year and a half, and so it's not costing me any money other than my data plan. And
Right.
I'm not real enthusiastic about taking what I consider an incremental upgrade and being charged
Right.
$800 for it.
Oh yeah.
That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Since you and the 5S will run the 5S will run Watch OS.
Fascinating. Good to
It
know.
will. Yeah, because as long as because you should see on your screen that watch icon.
I do. I do.
Okay, that's how you set it up.
Yep.
I tell you the only big flaw in the watch is when you do your updates.
How
You
can doing an update be a flaw? I mean, Apple normally that's pretty painless.
okay? What you do, you download it onto the phone,
Okay.
and then the phone will send it will install it on the watch wirelessly through the
So it pushes it.
it pushes it through Bluetooth, and it'll take
That's
a
a
good
slow way to do it because Bluetooth is
yes,
slow.
yes, it will take a good 30 minutes to do everything,
Ouch.
and that's
They need to fix
and
that.
yeah, and that's why I didn't want to do the beta because if something goes wrong, there's no way to like you can with the phone. There's no
Can't
way
uncork it.
restoring. You have to send it to Apple, and they have a place where you can get inside and reset it.
That's a poor way to do business,
Yes, that's why I didn't.
especially today.
Yeah, that's why I really didn't do the beta on it because in case something went wrong, I'll have to send my watch to Apple to get them to fix it.
Yeah, I no, wouldn't do it. I agree with you on that one. Anyways, well, why don't we wrap this?
Okay.
And in my mind, I think, and this is my opinion, it's freely given and worth about as much, that the new iPhone 7 is a incremental upgrade at best, in spite of what they've done with the camera. And
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, I sincerely doubt it's worth the $800 they're going to be charging for it. But I guess time will tell.
I
The
agree.
watch, the new watch, they
Yes.
might have something there.
I think
So
they
the
I
jury's
think
out on that.
I think they hit a home run with it right now. I'll have to see how it is, but I think they finally learned from that one. But you're right. Though again, this was not going to be there. Said the body still. It said generally your case will work that you have if you have a 7 or the 6S, the case will fit the 6S plus or the
Now,
7 plus.
see, that fits right into something I heard a few months ago. And the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. And that is that this is a calculated plan by Apple to let the current design of the iPhone take the heat for losing the port, the headphone, analog port, and that
Mm-hmm.
this is the last gen of this style of phone.
Right,
That
because
the
they're
new
saying the
phone, the 8, will actually be the game changer. But they
yes,
wanted to get all of the heat dissipated about losing the headphone jack and all the hate that's going to go with it and get rid of it. So when they bring out the new case design, it's got no baggage, and
right,
that kind of makes sense in an Apple
yeah,
way.
yeah. Because what I've heard, it's supposed to be uh totally. It won't even look like an iPhone. It's
Precisely,
because
precisely.
it said it's the 10, and they what I'm hearing, they're not going to call it an S. They're going to actually call it the 8 because it's going to be the 10th anniversary phone. Because they've been as of of course they would have to ring it out in early June, July. I'm sorry, January. That's when the iPhone came out. The very first iPhone on
10th anniversary. I can't believe it's been 10 years.
yeah, uh,
But the more I
January
think about it, the more you're right.
2007.
I mean,
January 2007.
and the funny thing about I still got in a drawer right over here, I still have my iPhone 1, my very first iPhone,
I
very
got my
first
one.
edition.
I got my one, two, three, the one, the three, the 3S, the four,
That was
4S,
GS. That was
five.
GS, 3GS.
Right,
They didn't
right.
start the S's until they had the 4.
No, yeah. And by when I did that, I said okay. And only when I don't have is because it fried was the 6.
Now,
I sent
see,
it.
I bent my 6. I'm one of the people that managed to break their display by bending it somehow. And I said, screw that. And I went back to a 5S. I gave up on the 6.
I tell you, I'm hearing. Well, you've heard of Dave Hamilton
Yeah.
from Matt Geek Gab. He loves his SE.
The little one, right? They're
Right.
going back to the small screen.
Right. The one that looks like the 5S.
Right.
It's but they call it the SE, but with the iPhone 6S guts inside it, and they said that. And what I can't get over, they're still going to keep making the 6S and 6S Plus.
That doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, between the bendability of it and the fact that the displays are starting to give up the ghost 3 or 4 years into it, tells me that phone, it doesn't have the longevity that the other iPhones have.
Right.
But who am I to say? I just use them and abuse them.
Yeah. I'm always kind of careful, make sure I don't, but I do. As a general rule, I do keep it in the case, but I took it out because I was cleaning it, and
Yeah, I I view my phone as a tool.
hmm
I tend to use it naked. You know, I've got a case I use, but the case is used because it's got a battery in it. And when I'm so hard on the phone when I'm on the road or when I'm traveling around and taking pictures, I have to have the battery case. I'll kill the phone
yeah.
otherwise.
Only
But
reason,
given my druthers, I use it naked. I
yeah,
don't like having the case on
only reason I keep the case on it. This thing's like a bar soap and water. It's that.
it. Whee! Now, when I had the 6 and the 6 Plus, you're right. It was pretty smooth, but I didn't think it was that bad. Honestly, it was kind of large and clunky
Yeah,
to deal with, but
yeah. I have a tendency to it. Um, it has a tendency to slip out of my hand, so I just say, "Oh, the heck with it." I'll put the case on it.
Yeah. Now the phone that I had that gave me some issues with slippage was the Samsung,
Mm-hmm.
the S5,
Oh yeah,
and that was kind of a weird one to deal with.
right. Oh, and speaking also of Samsung, okay, um,
Yep.
the the iPhone 7 finally, what Apple did was playing catch up to everybody else with the cameras and everything.
Well, they're still playing catch up in a way, but that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. We'll let them catch up. As
Right.
as you saw my one of my little ones come wandering by, hinting it's time to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, on that note, why don't you tell us where we can find you at, Mike?
I can be found anywhere on the webs as Michael King 4023 or just Michael King.
Excellent. I appreciate you coming out as always.
Anytime.
And I'm Mike Sweeney. You can find me in most places on social media. I've got a new site that's up and running. It's smartphonegeek.info. My MS Media site's still up and running, but I don't think it's going to be long for the world. I'm going to let that one die off, I think, and
Mm-hmm.
transition everything over to Smartphone Geek. So you can find me there. You can find me on the Twitterverse, Light and Images. You can find me on Facebook. Just search under Michael Sweeney Photography, and I'll pop up. And obviously, you can find me on Google, MS Media. I know a lot of names, long story, but that's the way it is. I hope you guys learned something from this. I hope you enjoyed it, and above all, have some fun with your phone. And like I said, these are my opinions. These are Mike's opinions. Take it for what it is. They're not gospel, in spite of what we think. But if you get yourself a new iPhone, post in the group. Tell us how it's working. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. And better yet, stop by when we have a hangout and do a little show and tell for us. We'd love to see it. And on that, everybody have a good night, and I'll talk to y'all later.